Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today I have a guest with me. Hi, Meryl.
Hi. Yep, I realize my last name is kind of hard to say sometimes, but I'm Meryl Climo. So this is real and raw, folks. We didn't even talk about it before, but yeah, my name is Meryl Climo. I live in Burbank, California, and I'm so excited to be here.
Awesome.
I'm lighting a pumpkin spice candle as we talk.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Yes.
gotta get in the mood.
Spooky season.
Yes, it is spooky season. Anything pumpkin spice related?
My name is hard to say too, so we're used to this over here.
Yes, I host comedy shows sometimes too. Like, sometimes I'll perform and then other times I'll be the MC. And I swear on the nights that I MC, I never get like the Mike Joneses or the normal names. It's like I get the toughest names and I always blunder it. So yeah, I know the feeling. I've been on the opposite end a few times.
Yeah. So today we're going to be discussing Golden Bachelor. And
yes,
we're just going to hop into it, really. So, have you been keeping up with Golden Bachelor?
I have. I really have. I definitely didn't like the concept at first. I've heard of
Me too.
A few years ago. It seems like they've been casting for a long time for it. Yeah. And I've heard of it. But once I saw it, I feel like I don't know what the general opinion is here, but I thought Gerry was a good choice to at least start off the new version of the franchise. Like, he seems like a nice man. And, seeing someone with a hearing aid and everything, I thought that was very sweet.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely thinking the same thing as you as well, because I wasn't really into the idea of a Golden Bachelor. But once I saw him, because they kind of introduced him officially on Charity season, I was like, I'm in love with him.
Yeah. He is so sweet. Actually, a fun thing is that one of my friends does fashion out here in Los Angeles, and she was just at an event for them, and she said that he was so nice in real life, and kind of like what he appears like on the show is really what he's like. So we have confirmation that he's not secretly an asshole.
Great. Thank God.
I don't know how you feel too, but I felt like I did not watch Charity season. I kind of was beginning to really I think this was the last Bachelor I was going to watch between all the Claytons and the Coltons, and Rachel and Gabby's season I thought was kind of weird and kind of a mess. And then I felt like I was beginning to get done with the whole franchise, and so I felt like this was good timing for them to switch it up.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat with you. Like, I think with Charity, I wasn't too sure about her, and this is something that I actually spoke about with my co-host when she was on more frequently, that I wasn't too sure about her, honestly.
Right.
But I think she really did do really well, and I was happy with who she picked. But I mean, we had like the Claytons, and Rachel and Gabby season was okay, but I got irritated with Rachel, and I'm just yeah.
Yeah, she became very unlikable, but I'm seeing that hopefully she's making a come around tour on like Bachelor in Paradise and stuff. But yeah, I don't know what the general consensus is either. Yeah.
I mean, I was okay with her up until I don't know if you remember, and I can't remember his name, Tyler. He was on her side of it.
Yes.
With Gabby. And she was the one that when they went to the hometowns, she didn't even go as far as to meet his family. So he showed up on the Bachelor in Paradise, the last one I watched, because I haven't watched last week's yet. And she got so excited. And like I don't know if she wanted a date from him. And I'm like, oh my God, no.
Right. It's like, we're not going to do this again.
Exactly. And I said, Tyler, please have some self-respect and don't go on a date with her. Like, please.
Yeah. she seems like a girlfriend that would be mad about something all the time and
Yeah,
kind of victimy. And I really didn't like her during the Bachelorette, like the big grand finale, when they have everyone there, and I forget what it's
yeah.
called, like after the final rose or
After
whatever.
Final
But
Rose, yeah.
yeah. That was one of the weirdest AFRs I've ever seen.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree. And I think that Rachel was that she thinks she has this personality that's very similar to Gabby's, and she doesn't. She does
Right.
not.
Yeah. Yeah, that was weird. So I think Golden Bachelor was what we needed.
Hmm.
And I'm hoping that it branches out into like, I'm 40 and 41 and recently single, and I'm hoping that like each generation could get their own. I'm like, come on, give us like no, we don't even need just the very elders. Like give us some
Yes.
midlife ones.
And that's the thing that like drives me nuts sometimes when we see like Love is Blinds or the ultimatums, stuff like that. It's like you see people who are in their early 20s, mid 20s, giving ultimatums to their partners, and it's like, where are the stakes?
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like it has gotten away from finding love, and I think Golden Bachelor brought it back where it really, even if it's not about like romantic love, it seems like they have a nice everyone's very respectful, and more just like common decency is being brought back.
Yes. I mean, we have some drama kind of going on, but that swiftly is not going to be a problem past this episode, I guess, until
I have
something
a
else
feeling
happens.
I know. We'll get into it, but I have a feeling I know between Kathy and Teresa. I feel like
Yeah.
you're like me. I feel like I know what team you're going to be on.
I mean,
But
I
I'll
honestly
let you lead
don't
us.
know whose team I'm on this one. I'm kind of in this weird place, but we'll get to it.
Yeah.
So we're going to jump into the episode now. So we kind of just see the women just kind of doing their thing, waiting for the next thing to happen. And I just said, like, why is Teresa working out in her mini dress?
Yes.
Like, maybe not the dress, but anyways, that's okay.
I've never seen this cast too is the healthiest. I mean, like between Leslie and her aerobics and everyone, it's like this is really an ad for physical fitness
I
this whole
know
season. Yeah.
some of these women look and seem to do so much better than I do.
Yeah, absolutely. I know. It's like I even thought, oh, I hope I can stay, as active as they are. I'm like, wait, I should start right now. I
I
should
should
have
start
started
now.
like, yeah, 41 years ago. I was like, yeah.
It's okay. I'm 32 and I don't hardly. I'm not. I need to improve my activity.
Right. But it is good. This is good. How these women look and act and feel, I imagine, is good inspiration, I think, for aging and women and just in general. Like I see it as a very hopeful, good thing.
Yes, I agree. And then we see Trista, famous Trista. I don't know anyone who maybe dislikes Trista, but I was very happy to see her. Um, and kind of just give her perspective again and being a little older, although I still think she's probably like at least 20 years younger than some of these women are. But it was kind of great to still see her come on
Yeah.
and then as they're kind of just talking and Teresa's giving her advice about everything, then Teresa inserts herself into the conversation and says, yeah, I really know how that feels because I got the first date, one-on-one date, and you kind of just see Kathy be like, oh my gosh.
Yes,
And
she seems like the person at the playground that is just uh like bragging about like getting an A+ all the time.
yeah, I think we all can think of at least one person who did that in school. I can see them in my head right now. And I'm just like, Teresa, I feel like she's in the middle of being so unaware of her surroundings, as
Yeah.
well as just also being very like manipulative as well. It's this weird place that she's in.
Yeah, I feel like she plays kind of still which is weird, like a little bit of the little girl, like innocent, she's small, she's whatever,
Yeah,
but I think I think she knows what she's doing more than she lets on.
I think so too. I think so too. And so Trista says that she's going to be on this group date. She's going to see some of you later, and then she leaves. So who's going to be going on this group date? So we have Ellen, Sandra, Susan, Nancy, Teresa, Kathy. There's another name here I can't read. April, and Faith. And it says, let's play pickleball. So they're going to go play some pickleball, which we know is very near and dear to Gerry, as well as, I think, is it Nancy? Someone
She's the
pickleball. No, Ellen.
coach or something. Ellen. Yeah.
So Leslie will be the one who's getting the one-on-one date. So then we get to the date, and we're just kind of, Gerry's there and saying, this is what we're going to be doing, but there's still one more person who's going to be joining this date. Duh, it's going to be Joey.
So. Which is good advertising. Once again, I love how The Bachelor is able to weave in like bands that they're promoting and other shows and other, it's hysterical.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they definitely know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So Ellen is kind of already our pickleball player besides Gerry, which we've mentioned already. And Susan says, why is it called pickleball? There's a ball, but there's no pickles. I actually really like her.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, I didn't think I would like her just because she seems to very much be a part of, the Kris Jenner look.
Yes.
But I really like her.
She seems like the most fun at a wedding. That's one thing I wrote down. Later on in life, she would be like the aunt that you want to hang out with who would be up till 3 a.m. at someone's wedding.
Yeah. And she is a wedding officiant. So I think that's
yeah. She's in her zone. But she seems very fun.
Yeah. So they're kind of just, playing and having some fun. And then April falls down, and they're like, oh, did she twist her ankle? Did she, get a medic? She's like, I'm fine. And she winks. She's just trying to get some more time with Gerry.
Faker.
Yeah. I mean, she's smart.
Mm-hmm.
Very smart. So now they're going to be doing a competition. And this was actually kind of weird because they said whoever wins is going to get extra time with Gerry, but I actually didn't see that happen. They are all together.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute, no one really got extra time alone with him. I don't know. That was a little weird. But anyways, they're going to be...
I love that the production thing. They're like, we forgot to tape it. Just move forward with it.
Basically.
Yeah. Like...
and then whoever wins also will be featured on a pickleball magazine.
Oh my God.
I didn't know there was a magazine for pickleball.
I know.
I just learned something.
Yep.
So the teams that we have, the first competition, because we're going to be doing 2 different ones, and then the winners of those 2 will compete against each other. So the first team, we have the pinky something. I can't read my handwriting. This happens all the time. Yeah, pinky dunkers, I think. And for that team, it's Faith and April. And then we have Picklelicious Paddles, which is Kathy and Ellen. So Picklelicious Paddles win, which, yeah, I mean, you have Ellen on your team. So you
have the professional.
Exactly. Then the second match, we have Pickle something. This is anything with pickle, as they include pickle. Except for the second team didn't have pickle in it. But we'll get to that in a second. So this particular pickle team, it's Susan and Teresa, and then the next one is Bitchin' Kitchen, which has nothing to do with pickles. Unless pickles are in kitchens. Maybe
right.
It has something. That's Sandra and Nancy. So they're playing their game, and someone in the audience got hit with the ball, like right in the gut.
Yeah. I said it was just probably like someone's cousin or friend that just got to go.
Basically. And then Bitchin' Kitchen won. And then the final round again is between Bitchin' Kitchen and Picklelicious Paddles. And Picklelicious Paddles won. Again, you have Ellen on your team. So there's no other way this was going to go. We find out here that Sandra is actually missing her daughter's wedding to be here.
Yes.
I mean, she's like, it's okay. Her daughter said it was okay. But even Gerry is like, that's a big event.
Yeah.
That's your daughter's wedding.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how, but yes, I want my mom to find happiness if that's what she wants to do. In terms of getting a relationship, that's what she wants. But that's my wedding.
I know. I would think you'd sit this one out and like try to do it in the future. Or I
Yeah.
don't even know. I feel like producers would somehow weave it in and like have her daughter's wedding as part of the date or something, like
Yeah. I mean, at least they called her daughter, so I guess that was
yeah.
okay. But I'm just like, mm, mm, I don't know. It's this weird thing.
I
And
know. I did write down I thought it was cute when they were, and this is probably also they wanted to include this, but the like how the FaceTiming and how they were kind of like almost fumbling with how the FaceTime button
oh,
works. And I thought that was a very cute thing.
that made me think of like if I had to tell my grandmother to just know how to turn off the computer, 8-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. That's like when my mom texts me, sometimes her texts will have a subject line too, like an email, her text will be in bold. And I'm like, you don't have to create a subject line if you're just saying like, we'll meet you here at 1 p.m. or something.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I don't think my grandmother ever learned how to text.
Oh.
So, yeah, no, she definitely didn't. My grandfather's a little more technical because
Oh.
he worked with IBM for years, so he's a little more technical. But my grandmother, no, no way. She knew basics. That's about it.
Yeah, I had to tell my grandma early on that my Facebook wall was public because she would write on my
Oh
Facebook
no.
wall. One time she wrote about seeing one of my old friends and how much weight that friend has gained.
Oh
And
no.
I'm like, everyone can see that, grandma. So I always had to like delete quickly when I saw her name.
Oh no, that's funny.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, everyone could see. She's like, I ran into this friend. My, what a lot of weight she's gained. And I'm like, oh my God.
Um, so then while Gerry and Sandra are talking, Teresa asks to talk to Kathy. And they're like, oh no, no, no. And um, so they're basically going to try to bury the hatchet, which, spoiler alert, kind of doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And Kathy says, listen, I just don't want you telling me anything. And again, I think that's something that just should be respected. If you create a boundary, respect the boundary. But Teresa's like, well, I just thought we could go on dates and then we can share that with everybody. But maybe with other women, you can do that. But with Kathy, she's literally said, I don't want to hear this.
Right.
So then just don't tell Kathy.
Yeah, I think there's a balance. I think that there totally is a right, but I think also Kathy just has to realize that she is on a show with other women and sometimes
Yeah.
she's going to have to hear things she doesn't want to. But I
Yeah.
thought Kathy's approach was bullyish and kind of a little bit like I don't know. I didn't really love her vibe from the beginning.
I think, yes. I think Kathy is she's a little more, I don't want, what word should I use? Tough, or
Yeah.
her approach is a little different. She is from Jersey, so like I don't know if that makes a little bit of
Right.
a difference. But I do agree that it kind of was bully. And for her to then say straight to Teresa in front of her, zip it,
Yeah, the zip it. I think that was the highlight of the whole episode for sure.
zip it. And it's just like, ugh.
Yeah. And if I was Teresa, I'd say I'm a grown woman. Do not speak to me like
And
that. And
that's
if
true.
you can't handle like hearing other people's dates, because yeah, like I mean, we'll hear later on, but she was around when Susan got the quartz or the crystal
Yeah.
too, and it's like you can't shield her from everything. But
No, and she
it was a little
also
weird.
when you saw that, she didn't handle that well. She,
Right.
we'll get to it, but like she was handling that well, and Susan's supposed to be her friend,
Yeah.
and she just had this jealousy,
Yes. Yeah. She made it more about other people and trying to kind of control what was going on in her world than about
just
herself.
controlling
And
herself.
yeah, Zip It is really weird. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not, you're not my mother or something, you know? So yeah, I would have hit her back with something, not a pickleball helmet or something.
I think that unfortunately, I think Kathy knows that she can kind of come at Teresa that way because Teresa is so quiet and isn't gonna fight back that way.
Right. Boy, did it backfire though.
It did backfire because obviously she feels comfortable enough to go to Gerry and say, "This is what Kathy said to me."
Yeah.
And that is exactly what happened.
Right. And it gave Teresa the leverage to kind of play the victim and have Gerry comfort her. And yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, everyone's different. I don't need my boyfriend to defend me. I can take care of myself. But
Right.
she definitely did that, kind of knowing that he is not going to put up with it.
Yeah.
And he's at that point when he sat her down and said, "This is what Teresa told me. I thought we dealt with this. What she told you, yes, I comforted her, but I comforted you too. So why is this still happening?" At that point, she was done and she knew it.
Yeah. And it says a lot about like what kind of woman I think he's going to end up with, and I think he likes people that are a little bit more on the softer. I think he really values kindness a lot too, and I think
Mhm.
that was like one behavior from the beginning that was like, nope.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I think he is a kind soul, it seems, and he does seem to need and want that. And I think, again, it's just like you get to a certain point in life where this drama is ridiculous. So why
Yeah.
is this happening? I'm in my 30s and I already feel that way.
Right, right. And she had to know like, why are you on a show where the whole premise is other people going on dates and talking about it, and like that is the whole thing. If,
Exactly.
if she can't handle it.
Yeah, and I feel like Kathy was one of the women who's actually seen the show before. So she
Yeah.
knows the premise of the show. I know a lot of them say, "Oh, you watch the show, but until you're there, you don't know how it really feels. You don't know what to expect." But again, I feel like that's just a level of a cop out because it's,
It is.
yeah, because like you watch the show. The show's been going on for 20 plus years now. We really should know what's happening.
Yeah. And I have to admit, this is I wish I was better than this, but this is where my like internalized ageism comes in, because I was looking at her being like, she looks older than he does, and especially the part where when she's going home and she says like, who can resist all of this? At first I was like, ew. But she's a beautiful woman for her own age, but
Yeah.
it is I definitely observe some of my own thoughts about how I view elder beauty in this
Hmm.
show, which is
Yeah.
something I like we're trying to kind of reverse and change the narrative on. But um yeah, it was I noticed that some of the women that I think look older than him, like I have thoughts on that, but we'll see who he ends up choosing.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I definitely agree with that. And I think that's why, like I said, I think in whichever episode it was where Joan left, and she
Hmm.
said it so beautifully that older people tend to be ignored at a certain
Yeah.
point in life. And then I also kind of added to it on the episode and I said, make that also elderly women are
Hmm.
viewed even worse than the men. It's okay to be gray haired and you're considered a silver fox, whereas a woman who's graying, you know, we're
Yeah.
seen very differently. And that actually happened here because I live in Ontario. There was a news reporter, very well known news reporter in my area who female grade during COVID, as a lot of people kind of were doing, just let it all go during COVID.
Oh, yep.
And she got fired.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding. She
Whoa,
got,
that is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
yeah. And there was petitions trying to get her back onto that
Whoa.
network. I think eventually she took a job somewhere else.
I was gonna say it's
With,
good marketing for another
mm,
station to
yes,
grab her.
yes, but it was a huge thing that why is it okay when a man can gray but a woman can't? You know?
Hmm. Yeah, and I catch myself too judging some of the women and just like, I think it comes out more when they're having not nice moments like how Kathy was. Like I was a little bit more judging, I think, of just her general overallness. But
Yeah, I think
yeah.
it's more that she's just not a particularly nice person. Whereas, maybe someone else like, I don't know, Teresa or whoever, Susan, they're just, they're also just nice.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
light shines through their eyes. I still feel like I don't know, maybe him and Joan have a chance in the future one day. I feel
maybe.
like that was a missed connection.
Yeah, I felt so bad for him because I'm like, I could see this.
Yeah, me too. I honestly thought it was going to be her.
Yeah. And well, it's not.
Mhm.
Um, so then really the only other thing that happened here with the date is that he gives the group date rose to Sandra, kind of for obvious reasons.
Yeah,
Poor thing, not her. Well, not even poor thing. She made the choice. And so
right.
to not be her daughter's wedding, but anyway, so then the next thing is the one-on-one date now with Leslie. So we just kind of see kind of what we typically see sometimes with with these shows. She gets dropped off in the middle of nowhere. There's nobody there. And then we just see Gerry come out with the ATV. And she is a little nervous about ATVing, which I get because I feel like I would be the same way. But he also says that he's kind of being very protective, can see that she's kind of far back as they're going, doing their thing. And he's like, go ahead of me. And I thought that was very chivalrous
Yes,
to go ahead of him and make sure she's okay. Um, so I thought that was very sweet of him.
me too. And I thought this was good because I wanted to see a different side of Leslie rather than just always dancing. And like I love energy. I love people that have a lot of, flair. But
Mhm.
before like the talent show episodes, I was kind of like, I get it, like stop dancing and just be a normal
Yeah,
person for
no,
like 2 minutes.
I get you had sex with Prince. That's great.
Right.
Great for
But it was
you.
a lot of just I was almost feeling like she was kind of tiring him out by just like
Mm,
I'm like, we get it, like that's amazing that you have that much energy, but I
yeah,
thought this was a good
yeah,
way to show the real her.
yeah. I thought it was good. It was good. But meanwhile, back at the house, the women are playing Never Have I Ever.
Oh, this was amazing.
This is great. One of the questions that was asked was who has um kissed another woman's husband? Well, the only person who drank to that was April. And
Yep.
then the other question was um who has had sex in the workplace?
This is where I felt, oh yeah, oh yeah, the workplace. Yep.
Yeah. April again takes a drink, but so does Sandra. She also takes a drink.
Right.
And then this one, I thought, like, this is not that big of a deal. But, anyways, the other one was, like, have you had sex in a car? I feel like mostly everyone did drink, except for there was one person who didn't drink. And I can't remember who that was. I think it was Kathy. Someone,
Okay.
someone didn't drink with one person, but they were like, everyone's had sex in a car, back of the car, front of the car, roof of the car.
On the
Like
steering
everyone's,
wheel. Yeah.
I'm like, that's not that big of a deal. Like, yeah, I mean, yeah. But so then back at the date, Leslie says, she hasn't really felt like she's ever been in a real relationship. Kind of makes the mention of her pickers off.
Mhm.
So I guess her picker is off with Prince as well. I don't know. Um, and she kind of says like she's had two divorces. She was a single mom, things were tough. And she says that she has been single for 22 years.
Mm-hmm.
She's 65 years old. She's been pregnant. She's been single for 22 years. And um, he just kind of says, I love the way that she looks at me. And I'm like, okay, that's really sweet. I just don't see him and her together.
Me neither. And he said something telling to me that was a little weird where when he said this is a great date, like no matter what happens, I'll still remember this date. I feel like, men like drop in little hints here and there. I feel like I really don't know like what happens, but that was a weird thing to
It's a
say,
weird
kind of
thing
no
to
matter
say.
what happens. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, he ends the date off by giving her a rose. So,
And of course, and yeah, I feel like she's still good to have on the show because she is
yeah,
just lively and pretty and yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, yeah, I just don't see it. And I don't think that will
No.
happen. That definitely probably will not happen. But yeah, I don't see that happening. But
And to me, I was thinking, and she would be the only one that I feel like would make a really good Golden Bachelorette. Like I feel like she seems
really,
like she would. Yeah, to me, I was like, okay. I mean, who? Maybe Susan. I don't. I
Joan,
mean, I don't know if Susan is too unconventional, but I was trying to think of who might be it, and
Joan,
Leslie
I think
seems.
Joan could be
Oh,
the
okay, that would be
next.
good. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Joan would be good.
yeah,
And it's Ellen's almost like a weirder version of Joan.
yeah.
Like Ellen's
I
the
also
Joan we don't
don't
want.
see him with her either.
No, me neither. They seem like they would be good friends or something,
Yeah,
but
and
yeah.
he's made mention that he kind of feels more of a friendship with her. He
Yeah.
did say that on their date. So, but yeah, no, I definitely think Joan, if she doesn't find a way to get back to him, would be
I know. I'm
the
like,
next
Joan, come on.
Bachelorette.
I feel like Faith wants to be the Bachelorette, the Golden Bachelorette, but I
I
just don't
think so
want to.
too, but
Yeah,
I haven't seen much of her since she got the first impression rose. She's been
I
very
know.
quiet, and
Yeah.
that's also interesting. Leslie.
I think Leslie would, yeah. I could
Yeah.
see Leslie having a bunch of 20-year-olds on.
Yeah, and that's what I'm concerned about because I feel like this was so important to have older women on this this iteration of it.
Yeah.
I feel like with Leslie, they would not be older men.
Right. It would be just same people from like Bachelor in Paradise.
Basically. Yeah, this is like
Yeah.
some Bradens and
Yes.
um so the next day, we're kind of seeing that I guess following pickleball, all of the women are kind of down for the count. Sandra is sick. She seems to have a bit of a stomach bug or something going on
Well, I
there.
love that in the scene before she says that she shouldn't be eating ice cream because she's lactose intolerant, and then a few scenes later
Right.
she's laying in bed. I feel that as
That is
a
right.
lactose. I thought that was so funny.
I'm like, oh yeah, maybe you shouldn't. There are lactose-free you know,
I
choices.
know. Yeah,
Like my
yeah.
mom is not officially, well, I think technically we'll just kind of say she is lactose intolerant at this point, and she does not eat ice cream. She eats gelato.
Hmm.
Um or not gelato, it might be sorbet. I think it might be sorbet, but basically doesn't have any dairy in it. And it's, there's stuff like that. That's
Oh, there's so much.
okay.
I feel like where I live in Los Angeles, it's almost weird
There's
if you
probably
eat
everything.
dairy. I'm like yeah, yeah. I'm like seen as an outcast if I eat dairy sometimes. Like every party has vegan mac and cheese and everything.
Oh
So
my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, no, I hear all of the things that you can see in LA.
it's
My
ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, no, my favorite podcasts, they live in LA, Reality Gaze. I always plug them a lot on this because I love them so
Uh
much. Yeah, they're in LA as well. So definitely hear all different things that happen there.
yeah, it's
And
crazy. It's its own universe. I like to leave it a lot. I like to leave the city a lot.
yeah, I feel like it's probably necessary sometimes.
Yes.
Um, so also Nancy has a stress strain from pickleball as well. So
Hmm.
poor thing. Um, and then we see Gerry come in and they're going to be doing like, I guess, the cocktail hour. Notice how everything happens a little earlier. for these guys.
Yeah, that's so sweet. Like 4 p.m. or something. Yeah.
Yeah, because we can't have a repeat of what happened the last time when they went out the
Yeah.
first night, and there was like it's way past some of these people's bedtimes. Like
That's so cute.
way past my bedtime.
Yeah.
um, so we see him. We kind of talked about this previously. We see Gerry giving Susan the rose quartz stone, and he tells her that this really does remind him of Tony. And Susan gets very emotional here, and it seems to be really, really appreciative of this gift. I thought it was very nice rose quartz by all means.
Yeah. And that's huge.
Yeah, yeah. Um, so we do notice, though, this is kind of what we were talking about before, while Susan is having her time with him, we just see kind of Kathy just very briefly snooping in on
Yes.
on her time. And I'm like, what are you doing? First of all, A, she's your friend, according to you, because you have this group called Askin. And this alliance, Askin.
Yeah.
So she's supposed to be your friend. Why are you snooping on her?
Right.
Kind of very odd, very weird. But I think again, like I kind of said earlier, is I think Kathy just knows. She's seeing everyone around her have these strong connections with him, and she herself doesn't. And not to mention this talk that they had, it was just didn't go good.
Right. She absolutely seems like someone that would live in her little community and like take a walk and notice what everyone's driving and who's
Yeah,
getting divorced and who's like just very nosy, but also
my grandma.
really yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. It's like we're all nosy. Of course we all care, but she does it in a weird way where
yeah.
I really don't like when women like judge what other purses women wear, if something's
Mhm.
designer and I get that feeling from her that it's almost like whether it's too nice or not nice enough, she would have
Yeah.
thought of it. And that's one of my red flags of people.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think like women should be uplifting other women, not tearing
Yeah.
them down. We get that enough from the men. We don't need that
Yes.
from women as well.
Yes, and I really don't like if people are, this is way a side tangent, but like just yeah, judging if someone's purse is not designer or it's too expensive or yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like mind your business.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, and I see Kathy just walking in the morning. I could just picture her just peeking in to everyone's house.
it's funny. But yeah, so then we see Gerry talking to Sandra while she's in bed. I thought that was so sweet. Um
Yes.
and she's good. She has a rose, so she doesn't have to like force herself out of bed and sick and everything. She's like, I'm good.
Hmm.
But I thought that was very sweet of him. But then Ellen tells Gerry that she's falling in love with him.
I know.
Oh, I thought this was kind of soon.
Yeah, it was kind of soon. And this is where also I'm not gonna lie, I got a tiny bit grossed out when he grabbed her face and started kissing her. I'm like,
Oh,
ew, I don't want to watch this.
you know what? It's weird to me that I didn't feel that way for some of the women that he kisses, but for some reason when he kisses Ellen, I got the same thing.
Hmm.
And I wonder if it's more about like I just don't see it.
Right. They just don't seem like a match. They just
Yeah.
seem like people that should know each other and they're in the same community and they're friends or
They both
something.
play
But
pickleball. They're of course they're in the
yeah,
same
they seem
community.
pickleball buddies. But yeah, she seems like she should have a different husband. And
Yeah.
uh yeah, I got that feeling too. And he said, what did he say? Something I feel the same way or I'm feeling the same
I'm in the
thing.
same place.
I'm in the same place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which like is kind of a nice, maybe not, maybe I don't know, that could be interpreted either way.
We do see a lot from the show is they never tell each like the bachelor or bachelorette never tells the people that they're falling in love with them too until they reach a certain point. That's always what
Right.
happens. And I'm seeing it again with this is like there's always a certain point where all of the women or all of the men will say, oh, I'm falling in love with you, I'm falling in love with you. And we're seeing this happening. And I'm like, these women are too old and too good to be just following in with the same trope of the show of I'm falling in
Yeah.
love with you. Like, no.
Yeah, that's true. This was an opportunity to show that love can grow a little bit slower,
Yes.
and that, yeah, that real love, you don't really rush into that kind of stuff. And I
No.
think she could have expressed that she's feeling these overwhelming feelings, and she's starting to feel like how she hasn't in years, but the love part might be a little soon, because it's like,
Thank you,
yeah,
sir.
yeah,
But we do see, like, for the next episode that all of them are starting to do it. And I'm just like, oh no, here we go. They're
I
committed.
know. And
They
to me,
like
it's
it.
like I wouldn't tell that unless I don't know, I always judge relationships. It's like you have to have your first fight, you have to have your first thing.
Yeah,
You just kind of have to know that you can get through some of the hardships, I think, before you like commit 24/7 to someone.
exactly. I mean, even then, like, I feel like I even judge some people who have to constantly say, I love you to your partner every single day to be validated.
Yeah.
It's like, no.
I can always tell I'm right about to get broken up with when I get needy, and I'm like, I love you, I love you, I love you. I think like my past three relationships, like the week before it ended, every single day, I'm like, do you love me? You love me? I'm like that annoying girlfriend.
Yeah, I think women, we have our intuitions and we kind of always know when something is about to go real bad.
Yeah,
So we try to get ahead of it.
exactly. Now we're working on just letting things surrender, not
Yeah,
chasing. Yep, exactly.
yeah. You know, I can't make you love me, right?
Exactly.
Then Nancy. This was crazy. Nancy ends up telling him, I feel like you have more compassion with
Yeah.
other women than you do with me. I feel like I'm not in that group. And he kind of just says, I can't argue that.
Right. I'm not going to dispute it or something. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not going to dispute it. And
I
I'm just
kind of
like,
like that, but yeah.
you go ahead.
I was just going to say that it was definitely a good conversation. I wonder what else was happening behind the scenes for her to be getting that feeling, because I'm sure there were some other moments we didn't see where she was feeling slighted too.
I mean, I think again, just kind of picking back off what I said earlier, is we have such an intuition when we know
Yeah.
that I'm not it. And I think maybe she just really is in tune with that and just said, I'm not going to stay here longer if I'm not wanted or if I'm not getting that same compassion that I see him having with other women. I'm just going to have this conversation with him and whatever happens, happens. And I'm okay with that. I
Yeah.
think the younger women and the other, like, the main show could really learn from this.
Right. And it's good that he didn't deny it too, because I also feel like a lot of the
Yeah,
men on the main show would be like, no, 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 when they know. So good for
exactly.
him for at least saying, yeah, like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, let's not drag you through the rose ceremony if I'm not going to give you a rose. I thought that
Yeah.
really good.
And I kind of like Nancy. I mean, I feel like she's on the wrong show with the wrong guy. Like she's not a match for him, but I think she seems fun and, a little cosmetic surgeryed out, but besides that, I actually think she's really pretty. Like she would be in my top heap of the women that I kind of find attractive on this show. But
Yeah.
I did think that she's yeah, she seems like she'd be more of like a housewife vibe or something like that.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something like
That's
that.
it. I think
Yeah.
I think Joan was probably the prettiest. Joan and Edith were the prettiest.
Oh, yes, yes.
And well,
But I could see him liking more unconventional. Like that's why I think him and Susan, like it seems like he wouldn't want he's not all about the kind of bleach blonde and Botox and all that stuff. It seems like he's
yeah.
looking for more natural.
Yeah. I can actually just kind of seeing like what his wife kind of looked like and everything. I think Susan is perfect. The kind of
Yes,
women
me
he would be
too.
attracted to.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He likes like more masculine, kind of larger, but yeah,
Yeah.
beautiful. But yeah, good for him though for liking like a different kind of beauty. This sounds
Yes.
so awful. I feel like I'm being really toxic, but it's not. I'm not trying to. I
No,
think
we
they're
don't
all
see that.
beautiful, but yeah, Nancy would be like the girl that like is just kind of like you could tell she was probably really gorgeous when she
In
was
her,
younger.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so that's basically it. Nancy's leaving and we see all the women just crying and hugging her, which again, we don't see a lot of that in the show in the regular
Yeah.
show. Of women just again supporting other women. We just don't see it. But now we're at the rose ceremony. So usually how I go about this is I just name off all the names that he gives the roses to, and then I'll say, this is who's going to be leaving. So he's handing out 4 more roses. So in total, we're going to have, I believe, 6 women.
Mm-hmm.
So we're having 4 more roses being handed out tonight. So first he gives the rose to Ellen, and then Faith, and then Susan, and then they kind of end this off between like April and Teresa and Kathy. And I'm like, okay, but I already know Teresa's getting this rose because there is a scene that we haven't seen yet. So clearly Teresa's the one getting the rose.
Oh yeah.
Not Kathy. So
right. And you could, yeah, totally that. And also the editing just beyond made it look like Kathy. They were already making Kathy the villain.
yes. Yeah. And I'm not surprised he sent April home. Not surprised.
No.
I think she's a little much for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he does mention that we are a week away from hometowns. So we're getting to the end. It's going by really fast.
I know. I appreciate how fast moving the show is too.
Yes, I
Like,
do
it seems
appreciate
like
it.
it's easy to track because I feel like halfway into The Bachelor, I still don't even know who the women are, and it just seems like too many
Exactly.
humans. And yeah, this is a good one for getting to know people.
Yeah, it's a lot better. But that's basically it. I think I've covered pretty much
No,
everything else.
me too. Yeah, my notes too. Um, I really wanted to make sure we knew about Sandra eating ice cream and then not feeling well. That was
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but yeah, I think overall this is a good show. We needed a twist like this.
yes, we did. Yes, we did. Well, thank you so, so much for
Thank
coming on the
you.
show. This was great.
I had a lovely time with you. We'll have to check
Thank
in
you.
when they pick a winner and see
Yeah.
how close we are to everything.
Yeah, maybe we can do that. We can plan for that in the future. If you want to hop on at the end and we can talk about everything.
Yeah, we'll talk some shit. Maybe they'll have Rachel come on for after the final rose just to like add some victim narrative into it.
Yeah. Well, do you want anything that you want to plug?
Yeah, I would say I do stand-up comedy all over not all over the world yet, but all over the nation and especially Southern California. People can follow me on Instagram. I'm at Meryl, Meryl Klemow. And thank you so much. I had a really good time with you.
Great. And I can put your Instagram in the show notes as well so people can easily get to it.
Awesome.
So that's the end of the episode. I do want to say thank you to Meryl for being a part of the episode. It was a lot of fun. We definitely will work to see if we can get her on a future episode of Golden Bachelor, maybe towards the end of it, or we'll figure that out. And again, as mentioned in the episode, I will put her Instagram handle in the show notes. So if you want to take a look and see what she's doing, where she's going to be doing stand up, if you're in the area, you can check all that out on her Instagram page. But that is the end of the episode for this week. Again, you can find us on all of your favorite podcast apps. You can rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. They'd be greatly appreciated. We want to be able to grow the podcast. And again, as mentioned briefly before, we're trying to work on new things. So, we'll be doing some stuff in the future for the podcast. But yes, that growth is so important, and we'd greatly appreciate the rates and the reviews on Apple or Spotify. Again, if you want to connect with us, you can do so by connecting with us on either Facebook at Reality T times 2 or Instagram and Threads at Reality T times 2 podcast. You can also email us at realityt times 2 on hotmail.com reality.com. Again, don't forget, we have the podcast on YouTube at Reality T times 2. We're also on Discord, which is another way you can connect with us at Reality T times 2. We have a new website, which is solo.to/reality T times 2. There you can get all of the links to Spotify, Apple, Facebook, Instagram, whatever your heart's desire. It's all there, as well as you can actually listen to the episodes on the website as well. So that's at solo.to, reality T times 2. I also have another podcast with my friend Mikkel, which is called the Next Take Podcast. We currently have 7 episodes. Well, we will soon have 7 episodes as I'm recording this. And it's a lot of fun actually doing that. It's a little very different from this podcast. And I think, if you enjoy just kind of learning new things or hearing about the things that are happening in the world currently, that is so broad. We talk about all kinds of different things. You can hop over to Next Take Podcast, which we have a YouTube. Next Take Podcast, believe is the handle for that. And as well, you can go to our website at solo.to/Next Take Podcast. And all the information is there as well. I think that's it. There's nothing else to discuss. I think I've covered everything. I usually don't do this anymore. I usually just put in the new outros at the end of every episode. So I'm not used to doing this as much anymore. But yeah, that's basically it for now, guys. I hope you had a lot of fun with this episode, as we did. But that's it for now, guys. Thanks. Bye.